everybody, welcome. What did you think to that intro? Wasn't it just amazing? It just goes to show. I've got to say it's a lot better than my background today. Need to try and sort this out. This is the first time I've used this StreamYard software. We're actually streaming live now on, I think it's Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube. So it's pretty cool. You pay so much to stream to 3 places, then you can upgrade to 10 places, and you can also just have it to 1 place, which I think is free from what I remember. But it's a pretty good system. I just need to sort the background out. Perhaps I need to invest in a green screen. I think that might be the next step for me. And by the way, just out of interest, we're also on my podcast. And, I think, the key here, for me anyway, is getting, a group of people together to listen to me rambling on and talking and advising and helping. That's pretty much what I've been doing now for 29 years. And also to get for other people who can't be here today for whatever reason. They're away, they're busy, they didn't notice the messages I've sent out and so on and so forth. But, no doubt right now they're signing up and watching on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. They may be watching also on Amazon Music and... Sorry, not watching. They won't be watching on there. They'll be listening on there because it's audio, Steve. So they'll be listening on Amazon Music and on Apple Podcasts as well. So, that's really cool. I know my podcast gets round about 7,000 to 9,000 views per episode. How cool is that? That's just absolutely brilliant, and links me in actually to one of the things I'm going to talk about a little bit later, and that is obscurity. Obscurity is one of the biggest problems that we as small business owners face. So welcome to How to Make More Money Faster. When I came up with that title, I thought, yeah, that sounds good. How can we, in my mind, it was, how can we go from where we are now to perhaps to where we want to be? How can we raise our game? How can we do better? Not in 2 years' time, but now, we're just into the third quarter of 2024, and I set myself a target for this to help people to grow their businesses within the next 3 months, not in 6 years' time. Okay, so things like SEO and stuff like that, search engine optimization. Just in case you're wondering what that is, we're not going to cover, because that's a long-term strategy. You're not going to get from where you are now to first page or number 1 on Google overnight, probably. So we're going to talk about that in future webinars. I'm not sure whether I will, to be honest. I suppose it depends on how this and future webinars go. But I'm intending to try and do this every week. I did it a few years ago, and it worked quite well, and I did it for about 6 months, and that worked really well for me. But it just got a little bit too much, I was tied down a little bit to do things on a Wednesday, so I called a halt. And in actual fact, what I did is set up an automated webinar, one that's pre-recorded. This is not. Okay, so I'm live here. It's, It's 12:35 on Wednesday, the 9th of October. So, I'm live here, and you might be listening to the recording of this in the future, but my point being, I've recorded it live. So how to make money more easily, faster, really, is the subject of today. And when I came up with the title, somebody said, it sounds like a scam. It's always good to ask people what they think. And a couple of people, not everybody, but a couple of people say, it sounds like a scam. Is it like cryptocurrency, or is this to do with, a property, development or investment? I mean, no, it's my usual stuff. It's about how to grow your business, how to create more leads, and how to convert more of those leads into sales, which is what I've been doing for 29 years. So really, that's what it's about. How can you win more business in the next 3 months? Now, I want to tell you right here and right now that this webinar today is a total and utter waste of time, right? But it's a waste of time if you don't do anything, right? If you come on to the webinar and you finish the webinar and you go, do you know what, that was really interesting, and then go back to work doing what it was you were doing before, and you don't take any action. You know, Tony Robbins, I've heard him say many, many times, and those of you who are, know me, and perhaps we've got some people who are on my program here today, those people need to, will know that I say this, and that is, knowledge is a waste of time. The application of knowledge is everything. And I got that saying from Tony Robbins, the world's leading business personal development consultant. And it is so incredibly true. So this is about really ultimately raising your game, doing better than you've done before. Because if you've got a standard in your business and in your marketing and in your sales called poor, you're not very good at it. You say, well, I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't really, do very much. Or, search engine, no, we've never really done that much on that. No. I had one guy said, we invested for a few months in an SEO company. And it didn't really work out. I said, tell me, how much did you pay them? He said £12 a month. Like 12 quid a month ain't going to get you too much done, Not quite sure what they did, but they didn't do much. I do know that. So, we've got to think about what are you going to invest financially? Because, whilst there's a lot of things you can do for nothing, you can't do everything for nothing. So, how much are you spending on your marketing? What's your marketing budget? But as well as finance, it's time these days, isn't it? We need to invest time in doing things like posting on social media, sending out emails, uploading content, setting up landing pages, and so on and so forth. So we need to make sure that we're not just about investing money, but we're also investing time, or the other way around, whatever the case is to you. So why is this important? Why is it important? Really, there's only two ways of growing a business, aren't there? When I say growing a business, what I mean is growing the profit in a business, because that's the purpose of a business. It's not to, create loads of income. That's part of it, but ultimately it's about profit. The old saying is, income is vanity and profit is sanity. Okay, so we need to create more profit. And there are only really two ways of creating more profit. One is to reduce costs, and the other is to increase sales. That is it. You say, well, I could acquire a new business. Well, yeah, you could, and that increases sales, although it could increase costs as well. Okay, or you may say, well, I could buy a list of, prospects. Yeah, that's about increasing sales, isn't it? So, think about that in your business. Now, it would be great if you could spend a little bit of time as a result of this, going into your business, looking at your costs and working out what you could save. You could probably save 5% here, 2% there, 10% somewhere else. And you might altogether be able to save 10, 15, maybe even 20% of your costs you could save right now. Now, I want to be clear here, that don't mean cutting back on your marketing, because that's cutting back on your sales. Yeah, assuming it's working. And most marketing isn't, by the way, in my experience. So we've got to look at what you can do in order to make it work. So if we're going to increase sales, and we should be trying to do that as well as cutting costs, we then need to look at how do we do that then? Well, if you listen to a guy who I listened to back years ago called Jay Abraham, you will have heard him say there are only 3 ways of increasing sales. 1 is to get more customers. 2 is to increase the average transaction value, the average amount of money each customer spends each time they buy from you. And 3 is to increase the frequency of repurchase. And number 2 and number 3 are by far the easiest to do. It is much more difficult to sell to somebody who doesn't know you, they don't like you yet, and they certainly don't trust you because you're a marketing guy, and we need to be able to get people into that level where we're marketing to them, to strangers. But importantly, we need to also think about what are we doing for our current clients. That's where the sack of gold is, the pot of gold. That is marketing to your current clients, making sure that they are fully aware of everything that you do, because they're not, I guarantee it. I remember many occasions where, I used to, and I still do, lots of LinkedIn training. And people would come along to my LinkedIn training, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, I'd phone them up. How are you doing? How have you progressed? Have you implemented? And one guy said, yeah, it's gone great, Steve. I'm really, making, some real good progress. And actually, we've got a company in to design us a new website as well. And I went, oh, I could have done that. Oh, could you? Oh, if I'd have known you'd done that, Steve, I'd have definitely hired you. What happened there? I got 150 quid for him attending the day's seminar, and somebody else got 3 grand for doing a new website. Whose fault is that? Mine. It's my fault for not making him fully aware of everything that we do. So that's really important. And we're going to focus on that. And by the way, in the spirit of that, if you want to find out more about what I do, go to results-mastery.com. Go and have a look at my results program. We've got everything from virtually, it's a tenner a month for the booster program, up to my results mentoring program, which is it's £300 a month. Absolute fantastic return on investment, assuming that you take action on it. So that's why it's really important, because we've got to become better at marketing. If we're poor, we get poor or we get painful rewards. If we're good, we're okay at it, we're like everybody else. I believe we get fairly poor rewards. Most people don't do very well in their marketing. And if we're at a higher level where we're excellent, we're in the top 10%, we're still not really fair. We get good, we do okay, we're, winning new clients and so on and so forth. But I believe in life, in business, in sport, in marketing, in sales, when you're a little bit above excellent, a little bit above that top 10%, that's where all the rewards are. And that's at a level called outstanding. When you stand out, you do more, you do better, you've raised your game so you're above, you're in that top 1%. That's where all the money's made. You take something like the consultancy, business advice type industry. There's a pyramid on that, and it's sort of shaped like that, where there are literally 95% of people earning less than 30-40 grand a year. The next group are maybe 40 grand to 100, and they're like 3%. The next group are like the 100 grand to maybe 500,000 plus. They're probably, and I'm not sure about my numbers here, they're like 1%. But most of the money is right at the top, with Tony Robbins at the pinnacle of that, apparently turning over 7 billion a year with a B, which is just a little bit more than me, I must admit. I say that very tongue-in-cheek. But, you know, seriously, there's a great opportunity. And by the way, for anybody who is in the what I call the helping industry today, one of the big things that's happening right now in the market is the change in the way we do business. You know, for years I've been, you know, going places, running seminars and teaching people and advising people and so on and so forth. Now I do it nearly all from my home on the Isle of Wight. You know, I very rarely have to travel. I've got clients that I've never met. And I've had them years. You know, we work together. I've got clients in Dubai, in Singapore, in Argentina, in Switzerland, in Poland, you know, and Basingstoke, you know. So, you know, it's a very, very different world that we live in now. And one of the ways I'm able to do that, obviously, is through Zoom and you know, and online meetings. But I can also provide the training online. You know, people used to travel about an hour, maybe 2 hours to come to my events. Now I can teach people all over the world. You could be in Australia and access my LinkedIn training or my YouTube training or my search engine optimization training and so on and so forth. You can access those easily online 24/7. You can go back and listen again and again and again. And why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because if Steve can do it, if I can do it, I wonder whether you could do it. If you're in the helping industry, you definitely could. And there's loads and loads of software out there to help you. I run something called the Results Mastery Hub. That's got that functionality within it. So, you know, if you want to know about that and how you could set up an online training program, and you don't have to be a coach. I could be, you know, Steve Mills, landscape gardener. And I record some videos showing people how to look after flowers and how to look after their garden and when to do this and when to prune that and so on and so forth. And people would buy it, you know, for a token fee. And I sell it to thousands and thousands of people. I was talking to a solicitor the other day who runs a program like this. And she charges people £50 a month for a basic level program, £50 a month to be a member of a program, and for that she does an online Q&A and gives access to templates and videos and reports and stuff like that as well. And she charges, as I say, £50, and she's got 1,080 members. Now you work that out, it's over 50 grand a month. A month. Now, this industry, by the way, is currently worth 8 billion a year. 8 billion a year. By 2030, it's set to grow to 30 billion a year. So this is big opportunity for us in the helping industry right now. So certainly something to think about. Okay, so let me crack on with things. So first thing I want to talk about, we got to get some more money into our business. That's what it's about. So my first point that I want to raise, really, in terms of how you're going to do this, how you're going to start today, not next week, not next month, today, winning more business. And the first one I've got for you is what I call your low-hanging fruit. What do I mean by that? I mean the leads that you've got that you've not really followed up properly with. And I know you've got some of them because I've worked with thousands of businesses in hundreds of industries over 29 years, and they all have, probably including me as well. You know, who's perfect? I know I'm not. So, you know, who is there? Who is there that you could win business from? Do you have people that you sort of followed up, but not really as well as you could? Do you have people that you've forgotten to follow up? You met them at a networking event and you haven't really followed up. Do you know what? In networking, I've been to, I dread to think, I probably, at one point, I was doing maybe somewhere around about I don't know, I'm going to say 50 to 100 networking events every year for a long time. Let me ask you a question. How many people that I met at those events do you think followed up with me in round figures? And I can tell you now, it's none, not one of them. We have this great conversation, we exchange business cards, we say, fantastic to meet you, let's keep in touch, and then they don't. The only person that keeps in touch is Steve. I'm saying that, again, not to impress you, but just to impress upon you, that you need to do this. This is low-hanging fruit. This is easy business. What about all the other people that you know? Well, like who, Steve? Well, like your family, your friends, people you used to be friends with, people you used to work with, people that you met at networking events, your current clients, your past clients, people who you've just lost contact with, you've just not spoken to recently. There's a whole tranche of people that if you made a list, I'm going to submit that you could find 200 people that you could send a marketing message to, or better still, pick up the phone and talk to them, right? That's, this here. I can't. I was going to show you on my phone. On my phone, it says, pick me up and I'll make you money. I can't show you because my my podcast is being transmitted live, so I can't actually show you that. But that's what it says, and it sits there on my desk all day in front of me. Pick me up and I'll make you money, right? Great, all this digital world we live in, and I'm a big advocate of that. But, there's nothing beats speaking to people. That's what I'm doing now. All right, you're not speaking to me, but I'm speaking to you. You're getting an opinion about this guy, Steve Mills, who perhaps you knew or perhaps you didn't. And you think now, he's clearly a Mad Axeman nutcase. Or hopefully you think, he seems to know what he's talking about. He's definitely enthusiastic, which I hope is coming over. And perhaps I might like to book a meeting with him, which you can do again at results-mastery.com. There's a link there where you can go and you can put your details in, gain access to my diary, okay, and just find a time that's suitable to you. It's really easy to do. And again, that's something that you need to look into to facilitating on your website. Because one of the biggest problems that I see is websites that don't convert. Why don't they convert? Because there's no call to action. There's no direct thrust. There's no, when people go to the website, they don't really know what to do. There's either like 1,000 things to do, or there's often no things to do. Like, a page that says our services, and underneath it is just a load of stuff about you and no call to action, and a boring headline like our services. Couldn't you make it even more interesting than that? You probably couldn't make it more boring than our services or about us, something like that. So think about that. Think about, getting that spreadsheet with 200 names on it of people that you haven't followed up effectively. They're past clients who've disappeared into the abyss that you want to maybe re-establish a relationship with. They're prospects and people you've met networking. They're people you've met at an exhibition or a networking event. They could be family, friends, people, or friends of friends, people that you know, and just start that process of building that relationship again. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, referrals. If you ask me what's the best form of marketing on the planet, I'd say without any shadow of a doubt, it's word of mouth, right? Still, in this modern digital age that we live in, the best form of marketing is referrals. It's getting recommended from either people that are already customers of yours or people that you know. The problem being that not everybody's waking up in the morning thinking, who can I recommend Steve to? That ain't happening. So if I just sit back and my strategy is to hope that people will recommend me, then, hope is pretty much hopeless. I might get a few, and however many I do get is great, but I'd like to think that I could stimulate that. I could push the button, increase that. We said right at the beginning, one of the things I said was today's about helping your clients to raise their game. They want to do better, and for me, working with you right now, I want you to do better. I want you to come away from this meeting thinking, do you know what? This has really helped me. And, that's what my intention is. So referrals, right. How do you do that then? How do you get more business from referral? Well, there's an old saying from the good book, I think, ask and you shall receive. You've probably heard that many times. And there's also one that goes, if you don't ask, you don't get. What's the worst thing that could happen if you ask your clients and the people that you know for a referral? They say, well, I don't really know anybody at the moment, Steve, sorry. You say, no problem at all. By the way, here's half a dozen business cards. When you do know somebody, please feel free to pass those business cards on and put me in touch. Would that be okay? So there's a nice little system, not going to cost you anything. You could today pick up the phone and call 10 people. Now, this is how the conversation goes. Let's say I'm phoning Fred Blogs, okay? Fred always gets into my conversations. Okay, so I go like this. Hi Fred, Steve Mills here. Just thought I'd give you a quick call, see how things are going. I think we've been working with you now, what is it, about 6 months? Fred says, yeah, it is about that, Steve. And things are going great. We're really pleased with how things are going. The hub's working fantastic. I've been using the Results Mastery University, all the training. I've just completed the LinkedIn training. And, income's up. We got loads of leads in the funnel right now. Things are going great. Right? Now, if Fred had said, oh, it's terrible, Steve, not doing very well, I ain't got time to do anything, and, blah, 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 at least I know that, right? I know that Fred's got a problem. So that's like the flip side of, you hope that they're going to be really positive, but they're not always. So if Fred's saying, I ain't got time to implement my marketing, then I can say, well, not a problem, Fred, we can do it for you if you like. And Fred goes, oh, right, okay, I didn't know you did that, Steve. You with me? This is where the education comes in. You let people know what you can do. Because without speaking to them on a regular basis, there ain't that relationship there. So going back to my script. So Fred says he's really pleased. So I say, well, thanks ever so much, Fred. I'm over the moon that, things are going so well for you and you're really happy with what we've done. I was wondering, Fred, we win a lot of our business from word of mouth, from referral, from satisfied people like you. And I know you've been in business for, I think it's about 10 years, is that right? Yes, it is, Steve. Okay, so you must in that time have met lots of people, you've got lots of contacts, you've got clients, you've got suppliers, you've got people you met networking, you've got prospects and maybe some past clients as well. Yeah, I've got that, Steve. Okay, so out of all those people, who do you think would be the best 4 people, the top 4 people that I could help in the same way that I've helped you? Then you shut up. You leave it to Fred to speak next. You're not going to say anything. Now, Fred's going to say 1 or 2 things. He might say, well, I don't really know anybody right now. Or, yeah, actually, I know this person, this person, this person, and that person. Assuming they go down that route, you say, thanks ever so much, Fred. Could you do me a really big favour and send me over the details? If he says, well, I don't have them, I can go and find, what's the name of the person, what's the name of the company, and I can go and find them either online or on LinkedIn. Assuming I've got that, I then say one other thing to Fred. Fred, would it be okay if when I talk to them, I tell them that you have I've been working with you, these are the results we've achieved, and that you've recommended that I call them to set up a meeting. Would that be okay? And nobody's ever said no to that. They always say yes. So we've now gone from, Fred being just a client of mine, which when I say just, it's a good thing. But now he's an advocate. He's recommending me, and he's just recommended me for 4. Do you think Fred will only recommend me for 4? Do you think in the future his mind will be more open to recommend me to more people? Or perhaps I could go back to him in the future and have the same conversation again? You're with me? There's huge potential here. If you had 100 clients, let's say you got 100 clients, just so we can use percentages, and at the moment 5% of them are recommending you. Perhaps there's 2% that wouldn't. Nobody's perfect, and for whatever reason they weren't fully happy. That leaves 93% of them that would recommend you. They just haven't done. Why haven't they? Because they're busy. Because they're not waking up every morning thinking, who can I recommend Steve to? They're busy in their own businesses. But if you open up that opportunity, you may, somebody might say, well, I don't know 4, Steve, but I know I can think of one person that you could really help. Fantastic, Fred. Or I've actually had, do you know what, Steve? I've got about half a dozen, actually. Is it okay if I give you 6? I go, oh, no, I can't, I'm joking, by the way. So you get the idea, yeah? So this is good. And by the way, that is like a landslide, just so much better than me saying, thanks very much, Fred. I was wondering whether you knew anybody else who'd be interested in what I do. That's like when you walk into a shop and they say, can I help you? You say, no, thanks, just looking. Okay, say something different than, I wonder whether you could, you knew anybody who could be really important. So, that said, okay, next one, follow up. I've already alluded to this, in this digital world that we live in, it's very easy to go, well, I sent them an email. I sent them an SMS. I've followed up. No, you haven't. Follow up is on the phone. Speak to them on the phone, if you possibly can. The more people you speak to, the more money will end up in your bank account. And these days, there's no need to do things like cold calling. Calling people who don't know you, like you, or trust you is not the best way forward. Phoning people who know you, like you, trust you is the way forward. And that's what I believe you should be doing. How do you know that? How do you get those people? Well, you can, do you think it would be a good idea for me to phone people who are on this webinar after the webinar in order to offer them a free meeting? Would that be a good idea, do you think? So far they've spent 35 minutes. We're only going to go till 1:15, so hang on there. We've spent 35 minutes talking about marketing. If they've not disappeared and gone elsewhere, then, this is really, really powerful. What about the people who open up my emails? So I send an email out to 10,000 people, and 550 of them, or more like for me, a couple of thousand of them, open the email up and click through on a link to go and find more information on my website or go and watch my video, right? Why wouldn't I phone those people? They're really hot, aren't they? I've said, if you want to find out more about how we can help you build a website, go to this page, and I sent them to my web page, and now I've got a list of them that I can follow up. Okay, if there's 2,000 of them, I might not be able to make 2,000 calls. It might be following up by email again, saying, we notice with the technology we've got that you click through on the link to have a look more, have a look further, and would you like a conversation? If you would, here's a link to book a meeting with Steve. Okay, but in an ideal world, speak to more people. Okay, now, who are you speaking to? This is something I mentioned again at the beginning. How big is your marketing world? Now, if you're like most people, you've probably got 1,000 or so connections on LinkedIn. You might have similar on Facebook and Twitter and so on and so forth. You've probably got about an email list that's anything from nothing to maybe a few hundred people to perhaps a couple of thousand people. Now, when you start to look at how big is your marketing world, you know, my marketing world, I work with small business owners, right? And I work with them pretty much all over the world. Now, in the UK, there are 3 million businesses. So let's say the small business market is 2 million. 2 million people that could potentially be a client of mine. Now, the problem with that is, you know, I don't work with butchers, bakers and candlestick makers. I don't really work with retail. I tend to work a lot in the advising type industry, you know, people who provide anything from, you know, fitness coaching to personal development to business coaching, HR support, law firms, accountants, people like that, people in the helping industry. So if we, again, came down from that, that might be, I don't know, I'm going to say, I believe it's around about 300,000 people, 400,000 people. Now, in my reach right now, I could get a marketing message out to probably around about 100,000 people. That's in my email, that's in my LinkedIn, that's in my social media, and so on and so forth. Now, true, I could go to any of those platforms and do some paid advertising. Right? I can go to LinkedIn or Facebook or, you know, any of these social media sites and say, show this advert to these people being the owners of small businesses who are coaches, consultants, advisors, trainers, accountants and solicitors. And I can say to them, right, do it all within the UK or Europe or anywhere in the world. I can do pretty much whatever I want, and I only pay per click. So if nobody's interested in what it is I'm offering, nobody pays. Right? So it doesn't cost anything, assuming nobody's interested. If they do click, it costs you a small amount of money. Could be as low as 20p. Could be £1 per click, 20p per click. Somewhere in that sort of level of investment. And then what we need to do is we need to make sure the landing page, the page that somebody lands on, whether that's your homepage, which it probably shouldn't be, or whether it's what I call a proper landing page, a separate landing page, which you can develop and build yourself. You can do that within the hub, by the way. That includes landing page templates, and there are lots of other places that you can go and get landing page templates in the interest of open and honesty. But the point is, you set that up. Once you've set it up, you've got to see how many people, this is where the numbers comes in, how many people go to your page from your advert, and how many people do you need to go there to get an inquiry. Okay, this is really important. If it's, let's say it's 50p per click, right? And I get 100 people there. So 100 people equals £50. Out of every 100, 3 people click on and sign up to a meeting. And out of those 3 people, 2 of them become clients. And let's say they pay me a couple of grand, right? So it's going to cost me 50 quid to acquire a customer. And 50 quid to get the inquiry, to get the 3 inquiries, and then you could argue that it's £100 to acquire the customer. But I'm getting 4 grand, 6 grand, whatever it is, as a part of that deal. So that's good. However, And, that sounds good. I know I gave a positive example. It doesn't always work out like that. However, what we need to do is to think about this landing page and what we can do to improve the conversion rate. So I want to give you some ideas around that, if I may. Firstly, where it always starts with me, whenever somebody says to me, what do you think to my website, Steve, or a web page or a landing page, the first place I go is the headline. The headline is the advert for the advert. And I see so many really, really rubbish headlines. Our services, about us, two prime examples of having a really, really bad headline. Could you not think of anything more boring than about us? Even if it was how we help you, that's better than about us. Nobody could care about you. What they care about is how you can help them. So why not say that instead of about us? You could change some of the words a little bit and make it still similar. So headline is the start. Next thing is things like the subheads, assuming you've got a structure to the page. Then we look at the words. Are the words as good as they could be? Could the layout of the words be better? Maybe adding bullets in there instead of long form text. That might work. We then look at the pictures. Are the pictures on there? If they are they as good as they could be? Could we have pictures of people? People buy from people that they know, like, and trust. If you go to my website, you'll see there's lots of pictures of me on there. Not because I'm vain, not because I think I'm so good looking, I'm definitely not. But what I do think is when people see me, they start to get to know me. I went to an exhibition I was speaking at the other day in Portsmouth, and 4 people came up to me and said, "Oh, you're the guy on LinkedIn, aren't we? We see you all over. You're prolific on LinkedIn. You're always on there, Steve. Oh, it's great to meet." It's all you need, isn't it? That's what you want. That's why you're doing this. That's how you're going to build and grow that business, by getting more people to know, like, and trust you. Getting people onto that database. Getting people into that database so you can communicate with them. Let's go back to the landing page. Where else can we go with this? Have we got testimonials on there? Have we got video testimonials? Do we have a call to action? What is your call to action? If it's like most people, either don't have it or it's way down the bottom of the page where nobody goes. You need one at the top, one at the middle, one at the bottom. Not right at the top, not above the headline, but, early on that text, we need a call to action. Perhaps a button, perhaps a form, something that you want people to do as a result of buying from you. So, one final point on this, video, right? I want to talk for 1 minute about video and how powerful that is. I don't know whether you've seen, but LinkedIn on mobile now, only on mobile at the moment, but they've got a tab at the bottom called video. And it's just like Instagram. It's just like TikTok. It's just like YouTube Shorts. It's just loads and loads and loads of videos that you search through, click through, click through, click through. Why is that? Why have they done that? Because video is the way it is going, guys. It is the way it's going. It's the way marketing's going. And I cannot stress to you enough, if you're not doing videos, then start doing videos, all right? If you produce some videos today, let me just go through this with you, because it might help you. Okay, so I got this. See that there? You can't really read it, but don't worry, I'm going to say it. I got this from a guy called Frank Kern. Frank's one of the people that I've learned many things from over many, many years. I spend my time learning from what I call the best in the world. I then teach that to my small business owner clients. And Frank calls this the magic formula. Great for videos, could be used on a web page, could be used on an email, and so on and so forth. So here's how it goes. It goes, if you or are you might want to write this down if you can. If you or are you. Step 2 is and you want. Step 3 is here's what I've got. Step 4 is, here's what it'll do for you. Step 5 is, here's what I want you to do next. And step 6 is, here's a bonus. Okay, so that's the structure. Let me just give you that in how I'd use it, and you can see how you might use it as well. So I might say something like, if you're a small business owner and you're serious about growing your business, and you want to do so without spending or wasting a fortune on marketing that doesn't work, let me tell you about what I've got. I've got a program called Results Mastery. It's a mentoring, coaching, advising, business development program specifically for coaches, consultants, advisors, professional service firms, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, normally at this point, I'd go on and tell them a little bit more about it, but in the interest of time, I won't do that. Let me tell you what I think it'll do for you. It'll enable you to, and again, I'd go, grow your business, create more leads, convert more of those leads into sales, improve your this and improve your that, and so on and so forth. So here's what it'll do you. So what I want you to do next is just to book a free, no obligation meeting with me. Go to results-mastery.com, get yourself signed up, click on the meeting link on there. It's a big gold coloured button. And get yourself signed up to a meeting. Okay? And by the way, as a thank you for doing that, thank you for booking the meeting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you access to another program of mine. It's an online program. It's called Results Compounding. And you're going to gain access to that 24/7. You can listen to it, and I'm sure it will help you grow your business as well. Thanks very much for listening. So there's a script for a video. All right, I didn't want to go on and on about it, but I think you could use that, and I think it would really help you with whether it's with videos or with emails or social media posts. Even might be a little bit long for a social media post, but you could definitely use it on LinkedIn as an article or a newsletter or something like that. So that's about it. That's about all I've got time for. I'm a couple of minutes over. Thank you ever so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I have. And I'd just like to thank you for being here. And if you do want that meeting, go ahead and book it. I promise, I'm not going to hard sell you or anything like that. All I'm going to do is demonstrate my expertise, a little bit like I've done for you today, but it'll be more targeted on your business, what you're doing and what you're doing well and what you're not, and genuinely help you to try and improve your sales and marketing results. And at the end of that conversation, if you want to know more about my programs, or I can help you in any way, great. And if not, at least we've had a good conversation. Only lasts half an hour, 40 minutes maybe, and we can do it on Zoom just like we are now. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and speak soon.